Hi guys, it's Steffi from the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a Books Beside My Bed video. For those of you who are new here, I film these videos once a week and I share what I have been reading over the last 7 days. For those of you who are very familiar with these videos, welcome back. I have two things to talk about first. The first is if you are not listening to the Death by the Books podcast by Leanne from Literary Diversions and Kirsty, who was formerly Melbourne on My Mind here on YouTube, please do yourself a favour, go and check it out. I will leave a link down to the website in the comments below. It is a really fantastic podcast. The second thing I want to briefly throw out there is I'm considering releasing the Books Beside My Bed videos as premieres on my channel, but I don't really know if that's something that people would be interested in chatting to me as the video airs on YouTube. So perhaps in the comments, if that's something that interests you and you'd like to chat with me, it would either be Sunday or Monday nights, probably around 8 o'clock. So if that's something that would work for you, this is Australian Eastern Standard Time, let me know. If you're not interested in that, let me know that too. And I'm quite happy to keep it the way it is, just releasing them the same time as usual, I suppose. Okay, so into the reading. This is my week from the 4th to the 10th of November. I read 7 books this week, a total of 2,199 pages, and my yearly reading total is up to 231 books. So the first book that I read this week was City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is her middle grade book. It was published this year in 2018 by Scholastic and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really love this cover. The hardcover edition is gorgeous and I almost bought that because I thought I could do something fun with the cover and defacing it and all sorts of things. But then I saw this one and I couldn't resist because the black, the red, and the silver is really pretty. It is the story of Cass, who is a 12-year-old girl. She is living in the US and her parents write paranormal novels. Her mother is a believer, her father is a skeptic, and they're quite famous and they're called the Inspectors, which I think is a hilarious play on words. At the beginning of this story, they have been given a TV show to expand their book series, and as a result, they're going to be traveling around to all different cities that are reported to be haunted, starting with Scotland, which is supposed to be the City of Ghosts. And while they're in Scotland filming, Cass finds herself getting caught up in a whole lot of things going on, especially adventures with her best friend Jacob, who is a ghost. So while her parents may not necessarily believe, Cass can actually see ghosts, and her best friend is one, and then she's traveling around Scotland and she sees all of the ghosts. I really liked this. The writing was super fun and easy to get into. The story was fast-paced. It never felt like parts were dragging. Cass was a really fun character. The antagonist, who is a rather creepy villain, was creepy without being overly scary, so it's not going to terrify young readers. But it was really enjoyable and I really liked it. The only part I will have to say is that, you know, it's a little bit unbelievable that a 12-year-old is being left to wander around foreign country all on their own. But at the same time, it's a book, so these things happen and characters would never find themselves in messes if they did what normal people actually did. That said, Cass's parents are parents and they are a positive influence in her life. So I think that sort of outweighs the complete strangeness of just letting their daughter run around somewhere where she doesn't really know where she is. Then I read All Aces by Ellie Marnie. This is the third and final book in the Circus Hearts trilogy that was being released this year. It was published at the start of the month by Bearded Lady Press, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I love this series. It is absolutely no secret I've adored all of the books. This one probably wasn't my favorite. I think the second book is still my favorite of the series, but I love them all. All the characters are really fantastic and they build on the storylines that have happened previously, so it's a little bit hard to talk about the individual stories because the things that happen are impacted by the things that have come before it. But in this story, we follow Ren and Zep, who are two characters that have been minor characters in the previous books, and now they're storylines are colliding. Ren is suffering from the events that happened at the end of the second book and she's dealing with the after effects of smoke inhalation, and she's a contortionist, and so this has a serious impact on her ability to actually move and breathe properly. And Zep is the son of someone who caused a lot of problems for Clutch's Carnival in prior books, and as such he is sort of regarded with suspicion by the remaining members of the carnival. Ren and Zep find themselves drawn together into trying to clear Zep's name as well as trying to carve out a space for them in the new carnival and the new things that are happening with the carnival, which I really appreciated. Ellie Marnie is a fantastic writer. It's Love Oz YA. She has a way with developing relationships that makes them feel very natural and very easy to read, and I can't recommend this series enough. The physical copies are coming out in December and I'm so excited because they're going to look so pretty all together. Then I read Archangels Prophecy by Nalini Singh. This is book 11 in the Guild Hunter series, and unfortunately this one did not wow me as much as some of the other ones did. So this came out this month in 2018 and it was published by Golance and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, which I think is one of the lowest ratings I've given the books in this series. And it sucks because this is a super pretty cover. I love the colors. Unfortunately, it just, it fell flat. So what I'm finding is that stories that focus on Elena and Raphael, who were the two main characters that started the series, the more that I get their stories, the less that I am enjoying them, because it just feels like we're going over similar things over and over again. In this particular book, Elena's transformation into an angel is sort of backfiring and reversing, and she finds herself actually becoming weaker and more human again as a result of all of the magical happenings going on in the world. And she's sort of becoming the really special snowflake, and I'm not all here for it, to be honest. But yeah, this one fell a little bit flat for me. It's still good, it's still moving the story forward, but I don't know. I think I just prefer some of the other characters. Then I read The Witch Who Courted Death by Maria Lewis. This is also a new release this month, and it is published by Piatkus, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really loved this book. This is set in the same world as her Tommy Grayson series with Who's Afraid and Who's Afraid 2, and it focuses on Courvoisier von Klitzing, who is known as Casper to most characters in this sort of universe. And she is one of a set of twins, and she's a medium, so she sees ghosts. And one night something really tragic happens that sets her down a very dark path, and she's now trying to track down a group of people with very sinister intentions who have hurt her and her family. And this ends up taking her from her home city of Berlin, I believe, to Ireland, where she crosses paths with a very, I don't really know the word to describe Opal, but she's a witch living in Ireland looking after her niece. It's just awesome because there is a female-female romance in here, and there's just lots of adventure, there's lots of ghosts, there's lots of banter, and it is just so much fun. So if you get a chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. Well worth a read. Then I read Rough Terrain by Annabeth Albert. This is, oh, I've forgotten what number it's up to. It's one of the books in the Out of Uniform series. It is being published on the 14th of January in 2019 by Carina Press, and I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not my favorite of the series again. This one focuses on Renzo, who is also known as Rooster, to his SEAL teammates, and Kanan, who is a guy who works at a local smoothie bar on base. Kanan is in need of a fake boyfriend for a camping trip with his ex-bandmates, including his former boyfriend who has moved on with someone else. He eventually recruits Renzo to go with him, and while they're on this camping trip, something happens. They're separated from the group, and then they need to be rescued. And this is the story of their relationship, the ups and downs that include topics of long distance relationships, strained relationships. It has actually a really nice representation of guys being really nervous in relationships too, which I thought was really interesting, and I really appreciated that. And it wasn't Kanan, it was Renzo, who was really insecure about his place in the relationship and everything that goes along with it. So I did really like that. 3.5 out of 5 stars. I continue to enjoy this series. I'll keep reading them as they come out. Then I read Hidden by Marianne Curley. This was published in 2013 by Bloomsbury, and I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. I read this because I had the second and third books on my TBR from my book haul revisited, and I started reading the second book as well, but I don't think I'm going to continue with the series because I just didn't really connect with the series. It is a young adult sort of paranormal series featuring angels, and I just didn't really like the characters, unfortunately. And in fact, I can't even remember the characters' names off the top of my head, and I'm too lazy to go and get the second books to check. But in this, the main female character is experiencing really weird things with her body, and she doesn't quite think that she fits in with everyone else, and she's been living in this small town for a very long time, and then slowly it is revealed that she is actually an angel, and her paths cross with a human boy who she is the guardian of. But there is sort of this ongoing factions between angels and fallen angels, or angels and demons. I couldn't quite get that because clearly this is not a series that really gripped me. You know, she's the center of attention of actually it's a love quadrangle, because there's 3 guys trying to vie for her attention by the end of the book. And yeah, it just felt very, very young to me. I can cope a lot better with very sophisticated writing in YA books, but less so with the less sophisticated books. So I think I'm just going to pass these on because I tried it and I gave it a go and it just wasn't for me. The last book that I read this week was Tales from the Dead of Night, 13 Classic Ghost Stories. These short stories were selected by Cecily Gayford, and I received this as a review copy from Allen and Unwin. It is a 2018 release from Profile Books, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not really a ghost story person, so this is a bit out of my comfort zone. And what I can say is that there was only one story in here that really sort of set me on edge, and I regret reading that one at night. But everything else was sort of interesting and intriguing, and there were quite a few stories that I actually really enjoyed. And there's a whole lot of authors in here that are well-known ones, like Ruth Rendell, Edith Wharton, Rudyard Kipling, Inez, but it was just nice to sample some of their writing. There's things like haunted houses, haunted dolls' houses, that was creepy. There is a really sort of creepy possessed sort of one. That was the one that really freaked me out a little bit. There's one that's a haunting at a masquerade ball, which I really like that one as well. They're all simple, they're all pretty short, they're all very easy to read. Some of them felt a lot more like classic writing style, which is probably why I didn't rate it higher, because I struggle with that more literature style of writing. That's just not me. But, you know, solid. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to read it, so thank you very much to Alan Unwin for that. So those are the physical books that I read this week, plus, you know, 3 more on top of it. And it was a very good reading week, I have to say. In the comments below, let me know if you have read any of these books or if you're planning on reading them in the future. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.